Gary Payton and the Seattle Supersonics.
Tyler Lockett from the Seattle Seahawks.
DK Metcalf.
John Sue with
the Favorites.
Nate Burleson. You're watching NorbCam.
You're watching NorbCam.
What's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you on a Monday here, a victorious Monday, with my Seahawks having defeated the Cleveland Browns 32-28 in Cleveland. And let's just get right into it. This show is, as you see on the title, Browns fan paying off his bet for losing to the Hawks. So let me bring in the Browns fan in question right now. Welcome back to the show, Josh Ungar to the max. For those of you who didn't see it a few days ago, or was it just Saturday, we had our little challenge, our little discussion, pre-game discussion about this game. And well, it was kind of interesting because you actually picked the Seahawks to win, but you still made a wager that if the Browns won, I would have to do the Browns chant wearing a Browns hat. And if you lost, you would have to do something for me. So I am ready to see you pay off the bet. I love the colors. The hat looks good, better than what you had before. So, Josh, welcome back. And I'm ready to see you, pay back right here in front of our audience right here.
So first off, that was let me just say these are my two favorite teams in the NFC in all of football, so I was in a no-lose situation there. But don't worry, for all my YouTube subscribers who might be watching this and might be confused, I'm not suddenly becoming a Seattle Seahawks YouTube channel. No, I'm still a Cleveland Browns YouTube channel. But I made a bet or a wager with Norb that if the Browns won, then he would have to wear a Browns hat and do the Cleveland Browns cheer. And if the Seahawks won, then I would have to go full out Seahawks and do their cheer. And, well, it was a little bit of controversy, a little bit of, refs getting involved, a little bit of Russell Wilson showing why he's the veteran and why Baker Mayfield's still developing. And, yeah.
Well, we'll talk. We're going to break this game down in a second, but let's get the bet out of the way right now, and then we'll talk football.
All right, let's do it.
I'm ready.
Seahawks! There you go.
Music to my ears, pal. Music to my ears.
I do want to come to a game at the Clank at some point. That's one of my bucket list items. I will admit that.
Well, if you do, I would welcome you with open arms, and we'd have to meet up and maybe even try to watch the game together. That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So I guess it won't be 4 years until the next time Cleveland comes here, unless we happen to meet in the playoffs somehow.
The only way we
Actually,
can be
it would have to be the Super Bowl. Yeah, it wouldn't happen this year. It would have to be the Super Bowl. What am I talking about? And fat chance.
Which, as of right now, it's not looking like we're going to go to the playoffs.
Well, it's still early, but we'll see what happens. I see we have Gangrene David, who we also chatted with. Congratulations, Gangrene David, Jets fan, for your huge win, and thank you very much for taking care of the Cowboys yesterday. I appreciate that.
Who still think they're America's team, even though they're not.
Definitely not.
No. Thanks, Gangrene, for knocking down the Cowboys, the Cowgirls. Not my team. Not my America's team. Hey, where's those clothes going? What are you doing? Why are you getting undressed? This is a family-friendly show. This is no strip tease. This is not strip tease.
Carissimo.
Cover your eyes. Kids, cover your eyes.
Anyway.
What am I going to do with you?
Oh, this show quickly gets off the rails. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about the game. I did do a couple of post-game quick vlogs about it right after the game and one earlier this morning. Well, I did my share. Let me hear from you. You kind of said a few things about it. Give me kind of your short summary of how you saw the game go, and then we'll talk and debate a little bit about some specifics about the game.
So, at least in the first quarter, we came came out firing right away, going down and scoring 3 touchdowns. Yes, I know you guys did score a touchdown in that sequence, but I'm like, okay, maybe we're finding our identity of doing the run game and the quick short passes. That's what I began to think. And then second quarter, I feel like even though you guys started to find your identity, find your groove a little bit, I still feel like we had the momentum going into halftime. And third quarter was more you guys really, pounding the ball with the run game, especially with Carson. Although Russell Wilson had a couple great runs in there. I'm not going to deny that. And then we get to the fourth quarter, and, that's where the controversy and the refs come into play. Because on the one play when we challenged, first off, that was, if we had not challenged on that play, we would have gotten the touchdown. But, Kitchens thought on the previous play the ball was across the end line. And, I was at the game, and, everybody around me saying, oh, that's a touchdown, that's a touchdown. And I'm looking at the replay, and I'm like, you can't quite see where the ball is. So I don't think there's enough to overturn this.
I thought it was a touchdown. Frankly speaking.
Yeah. I couldn't see where the ball was. So I'm like, this could be a touchdown, but I don't think there's enough definitive evidence to overturn it and say that was a touchdown.
It was kind of inconsequential because in the end we did stop you. You guys went for it 4th and inches. We stopped you, and then we just completely did nothing on the next drive. Kicked that horrible punt, and you guys scored anyway. So you guys did get the eventual touchdown. It just sort of ate off some time off the clock. So in the end, it wasn't as big of a play as it turned out to be. However, the loss of the challenge did become a big issue down the line because you guys were out of timeouts when it counted.
Correct, and I think. Not only that, but also on the challenge, because not having the ability to challenge, because there was a play where Russell threw it to, I believe it was Metcalf on the sidelines late in the fourth quarter. I don't remember exactly when it was. It was.
Yeah.
Do you know what play I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It was a sideline pass on the left sideline, and I believe that they challenged it because it was before the 2 minutes. And I think I don't think he had possession. I think he did drop the ball as he was going out of bounds. So lucky for us, you guys couldn't challenge it, and that play stood. Huge play.
Yeah.
It was a huge play.
Yeah. But you know what I was really surprised about was I thought going into this game that you guys were going to rely more on your running attack, but it didn't seem like that's what you guys were doing. Which was very surprising me. I'm like, wait, they're using their pass offense more? Like, I don't associate the Seattle Seahawks with passing. Like, that's not to say Russell Wilson's a bad quarterback, because I think he's definitely in the MVP discussion, as he rightfully should. But I've never associated the Seahawks to be an air it out, throw it all over the yard type team. I've always associated them with, running the ball and then building your pass game off of that. But I looked at the final stats because they showed them on the Jumbotron or scoreboard, whatever you want to call it. And I think we had more rushing yards than you did, but you had more passing games. And I'm like, wait, shouldn't that be the opposite? Because, again, when I think of the Seattle Seahawks, I don't think of a passing team.
Well, I think it was a balanced attack. And now I'm going to try to pull the stats up in front of me here because I actually want to back up what I'm talking about. But Chris Carson ran for over 100 yards, and anytime you get your running back to run for over 100 yards, and then Russell added his own to that, you're running the ball. Okay, you're running the ball successfully, and like I said, what I wanted to see was a balanced attack, 50-50. I think that's kind of what we ended up doing. Let's see, we rushed for 170 yards total.
Okay.
And we passed for 284, 23 of 33. And like I said, I thought in an ideal game, Russell throws the ball about 25, 27 times a game. But we were down 20-6. So we were having to come from behind. And anytime you're down 2 scores like that, you're going to have to throw the ball a little bit more. So he threw the ball 33 times. That's not being a air it out attack. That's a little bit more than average for the Seahawks team. So I thought it was very balanced. It's just, Russell has enough weapons where he can hit you in the running game. He can hit you in the passing game. But you just got to remember, Russell doesn't do it by quantity. He does it by maximum efficiency per pass. And that's what makes him so great. He doesn't have to air it 50 times and in order to get 28, 30 completions. He only needs he wasn't even that good yesterday. He was a little more off than normal, missing a few throws that he probably would have normally had. But anyway, so yeah, I thought it was pretty much how they would have it. Anytime you get the running back over 100 yards, that's a good day for the Seahawks. But let me talk a little about your team. Here's my take on it. I think we both agree there were some bad calls by the officials. I'm not going to deny that. The two that jump out to me was the blindside block. That was a totally, I don't know where you got that from. The second one.
I heard that penalty, and I'm like, I've never heard that penalty in my life.
Oh, I mean, it's there. It's a relatively new penalty. I think they only started calling it in the last couple of years or something. It's, again, another safety thing. They're trying to avoid the play where a guy's running like this and go, pow, somebody takes him out without looking. He wasn't blindsided because he saw the block coming. Now, if he'd ever turned his head to see him, it would have been blindside. But he did see him. He lowered his head and shoulder and actually delivered the blow. So, so that's, I'd have to see someone explain that to why it would have been a penalty. It didn't look like so to me. The other one was they called a horse collar on the sack of, or the attempted sack on Wilson. To me, and I said this during my live stream of the game, that in my mind, a horse collar is when you get your hand, the defender gets his hand in the back of the shoulder pad and drags him down by the back of his thing, which is very dangerous for the back. Your player had him by the jersey. Yeah, he had the jersey up high, and it looked like a horse collar because of the way his body moved, but by the definition, he didn't have him by the shoulder pad. So I don't think that's a horse collar tackle, unless they change the rule. But those were, to me, the two ones I vehemently disagreed on, and I thought you guys kind of got hosed on those two. I'll give you those two calls.
I do have one general question, going away from the post-game review for a minute. Do you agree that since they put in the ability for teams to challenge pass interference, doesn't it feel like they're calling more pass interference calls just in general? I'm not saying specifically in this game, but like ever since the whole NFC Championship debacle, and then the NFL goes, okay, now, teams, you can challenge for pass interference calls. At least to me, it feels like the refs are throwing the flag more often. Does that?
I don't know. I don't necessarily get that sense. I haven't been watching enough general games to really get a sense if I feel like there's more pass interference calls than not. I only watch my Seahawks when I can, and I catch highlights of a lot of the other ones, so I don't get a whole sense of how many times per game it feels like it. I do know that there aren't very successful challenges. It's a very small percentage of ones being challenged, but I think that whole rule where you can challenge for pass interference when there wasn't pass interference, I know that was all started by what happened last year with the Saints debacle against the Rams, and they're trying to fix that. But it's definitely a weird place right now. I don't know how that. I think that rule needs to be adjusted because it's really strange, and I think people are still confused, and coaches are confused on what they can or cannot call on that. But that aside, I didn't think pass interference ever came up really in this game to be of any controversy. There was some debate over the Odell Beckham Jr. catch that he made over Tedrick Thompson, which was an amazing catch. A lot of people that I was with, some said they thought he didn't catch it. I thought he got a leg and a shoulder in, but it was a really questionable one. But I thought
you're talking about the play when Seattle challenged it, right?
Seattle challenged it when Odell Beckham Jr. caught the sort of out route on the right sideline, and he
Yeah.
caught the ball diving over Cedric Thompson. It was an amazing catch.
Yes.
And you guys got the call on that one. So you didn't get every call not going your way. You had a call that did some went your way as well. But that was just a
I
good
agree
play.
with you on that one. I'm not going to sit up here and say, oh, the refs didn't give us any calls. You know, they were totally favoring the Seahawks. I'm not going to be that type of fan that is just like, oh, we lost. I'm so angry. You know, I'm not like that.
Right. I got to address somebody in the chat here. You feel free to keep the chat going. But Yee, is your name Yee? Says Norb overrates the Seahawks. I got to take issue with that one. I'm the first one who says, even in my last video, said I'm not getting overly hyped over 5-1. I'm the first one to say we are not Super Bowl ready, and this team has a lot more to work on before we're truly ready to take the NFC West crown and to be able to beat a team at the elite level like a Patriots if we were to get to the Super Bowl. I'm very real about what my team is made of. Now, my predictions, I'm a little bit bold, but hey, I'm a fan. I can do that. But as far as my analysis of the game, you know, I'm very real about what I see, whether it's the penalties, whether it's what my team is doing, what the other team is doing. So let's just be clear on that. So anyway, but I feel very lucky that we're 5-1 right now. But I wanted to address a couple things with the Browns. So I said earlier in my video, I thought the Browns, you guys could have blown us out. You guys were starting to blow us out at 20-6. And if you guys had gotten another touchdown on us, I mean, it would have been on its way to a blowout. But we were lucky to stop it, turn it around. A couple things that I felt like I saw the difference in. You and I talked a little bit about how we match up, coach versus head coaches comparison, quarterback comparison, defensive line. And I think we kind of saw a lot of stuff even. But the big one is the quarterbacks and the coaches. I think those two things made the difference in this game. There was no panic, no freak out, because Seattle's used to being behind and having to catch up. Whereas the Browns, I think you guys haven't learned to win yet. You guys have learned how to lose. You guys also have to learn how to win. And learning how to win means getting a lead and holding on to it. And I thought, you can't blame the refs entirely. Yes, the refs gave some opportunities, but you guys had plenty of opportunities to close the door on us, and you didn't. The main thing I thought was
with you on that one.
4 turnovers, 4 interceptions. I don't put that all on
Baker's fault.
Not Baker's fault, but I wanted to get your take on this because I thought there was a lot of drops by Odell Beckham Jr. And yes, sometimes the ball was thrown behind him, but this is OBJ, who you're supposed to put up on another elite level. He's like one of the highest paid because he can catch the ball with one hand. But what's the point of catching the ball with one hand if you can't catch one that's slightly behind you with 2 hands? So I think your receivers let your quarterback down. That's number one. I want to get your opinion on that. And then 2,
I agree.
Baker Mayfield needs to take a page out of the Russell Wilson survival Bible and learn how to get down and not be the hero on every play, because you know how he was hurting from that oblique, whatever he tweaked during the game? I believe it's from that run he had where he scrambled, and instead of just taking a slide and going down, he kind of did some extra spins and all this stuff and landed a little awkwardly, and he was never the same after that point. So he's got to learn, like a lot of these other guys out there, they got to learn how to protect themselves, or they're going to find themselves much like Andrew Luck, not surviving.
And it was Mason Rudolph that you were trying to think of the other night.
Yes, right.
Yeah, just wanted to put that out there. So what I'm seeing with Baker Mayfield in general is, again, you can't blame the offensive line for this, because our offensive line held up well against your D-line, which I'm very surprised about, considering that you guys have Jadeveon Clowney and Ansah, and can't remember who else. But those are the 2 main guys, I would say. And Baker Mayfield on the one, he's like, okay, you're coming at me. I can take off and run. And that's what he did on the 1 touchdown. But in general, what made him so good at Oklahoma and in the last 7 or 8 games that he was our quarterback last season after Tyrod Taylor got injured, which I hate that that's how Baker Mayfield even came into the game, is due to, our starting quarterback Tyrod Taylor getting injured. I hate that. I wish it had been Tyrod's not playing well, let's bring Baker Mayfield in. But what I've noticed in general is Baker Mayfield is not playing with that chip on his shoulder. And it's like he can't handle expectations. Like last season, there were no expectations for this team. None. And Baker Mayfield was able to play freely. He, you could see like he was having fun. Like, against Atlanta, there was like a sound NFL mic'd for sound video for that game. And he's like, I woke up feeling dangerous. And he's saying all this stuff. And like, I'm not seeing that from him this season. And I don't know if it's the expectations. I don't know if it's like the NFL has already figured him out. I don't know if it's like a sophomore slump. But he needs to figure it out. Like, you got a week off, although I hope you're preparing for the Patriots, I think we might be catching the Patriots at the right time because they're still struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they'll be using Tuesday as a travel day since they have Monday Night Football at the Jets, who will be coming in with confidence, having just beaten Dallas, albeit by 2. So, New England's not going to have a full week to prepare for us, which, although we play them in week 8, not week 7. So, my point, I don't remember when they play the Jets. It's not this week. It's next week. Okay. So, yeah, they'll only have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to prepare for us. Or I might be getting my schedules weeks mixed up.
That's okay. We'll deal with what we know is in front of us here. So,
yes.
But it's interesting. I was listening to a press conference with Baker Mayfield, and he was obviously upset. He kind of complained about the officials, but he also said something to the fact of, "I play better when I'm mad or when I'm angry."
Yes.
And
I 100% agree with that.
You know what's funny? I had this quick feeling like Russell Wilson as Yoda and Baker Mayfield as Luke or young Anakin with the red eyes glowing. I feel the hate inside me swelling. Use the dark side. And I'm like, if you have to play mad, I don't know about you guys, but I rarely have good things come out when I act on anger. Usually I maybe do something more impulsive, but it's usually not a good result. And I don't know if he's serious about that, like playing angry, like out of control or something. But I guess maybe what he's trying to say that just if he's more fired up. But I hope that, because to me that means he's going to be a little more reckless, that he's going to take it and run, and he might try to hit a guy because he's mad. But that's career suicide right there. You know what I'm saying? I'm just thinking he's got to be more smart. And again, it's being, utilizing what you have and not forcing, with your will, to try to get something done. And again, I think he should be more upset at his receivers because they're the ones who let him down, in my opinion. There was a lot of drops, on balls that were very catchable. And the 4 interceptions are going to make it look like it was on him. And I think it was more of the there's that one that went to Trey Flowers where they were just on the wrong page and the ball just sort of sailed or whatever. And they went the wrong, totally went the wrong way. But the one in the end zone was a great play by Shaquille Griffin to tip it. And then Tedrick Thompson picked it off. The one by KJ just bounced off of receiver's hands into his waiting arms. I think that
our backup running back, Dontrell Hilliard.
And that's just, oops, what can you do? Unfortunately, at the game on the line, he slipped. And then what was the fourth interception? What am I missing?
I don't know, but
it's 3. Anyway, those are the ones I remember. And so,
it's I believe we only had like 4 turnovers, but 4 turnovers, but it felt like 5 because you guys blocked the punt. And I think you ended up taking the ball out. I know you took the ball after blocking the punt. Didn't you guys put it into the end zone on that possession?
We got a field goal out of that. So it was minimal damage, actually. We didn't capitalize fully on that block punt.
I have to admit, that was when it was 25-20. I'm like, this is one of the most bizarre football scores I have ever seen. Because I don't know the last time I saw a football game where the score was 25-20.
All right.
I'm like, what?
When I looked at it, I was going, well, I predicted 21-20, so half of my score prediction was right.
I predicted 21-17.
But of course, things got much higher after that point. But I also didn't expect a kickoff return to be taken to our 30-yard line, and I didn't expect a 22-yard punt from our punter, and I didn't expect to miss an extra point. So our we had some bad special teams day yesterday, that's for sure. Yeah. So it was a sloppy game all around. But I guess my assessment on the Browns is that you guys have the talent. You guys had you could have come away from that game with like a 40-17 win if you guys had just not turned the ball over all those times and been more efficient in the second half. And it would have looked like you finally are rising up to the level that your talent is. And I think it was just you guys kind of got short-circuited by turnovers, some bad calls, and then of course our team rising up and coming back and just steadily, executing up until the final end, which is what Seattle always has to do. So they're kind of used to it. Sometimes I think Russell does it on purpose because he wants to just be this hero guy and gets the fourth quarter comeback. So I sometimes think it's this conspiracy theory, like, hey man, let's just like mess up for a little bit here and let me win it in the fourth quarter. That way I can up my fourth quarter comeback stats. All right, let's do that.
I will say that.
But seriously, I mean, that's how they work. That's how they roll.
Yeah, but I will say, like, even when we went up like 20-6, you guys were still running the ball. I'm like, what? Why are they still running the ball?
Because but that's the thing is when you're down 20-6, but when you got 3 quarters of football left, you don't have to panic. And here's what happens with teams that don't have the experience: they panic, they abandon everything, and just start throwing the ball all over the yard, thinking, "Oh my God, we're 2 scores down. We got to throw it.
Right.
We got to throw the bomb. Oh God, we need a touchdown right now." And you don't. You get one score, and then you're within 1 score already. You get a field goal, you're within. You're that much closer, and I think that's the part where having that knowledge that, hey, we don't have to get it all back right now. We don't even have to all get back by the first half. We can get it in the third quarter, and that's I think where the experience and the calm, and again where I think Baker Mayfield is of that. I'm mad and I want it now. I'm going to throw it and get it all back in this one throw. And the reality is you don't have to do that. And I think once he figures that out and calms the F down, he's going to probably, be a lot more efficient and not take so many risks, and probably then not turn the ball over and probably win a few more games. That's just my take on it anyway.
Which I will say our schedule does lighten up in the second half, although there are a couple potholes, like starting with week 8 at New England. But then week 9 at Denver, and then having to come home and play the Bills, which I was saying this before the season. There were 3 home games that I was really looking forward to. Week 3, Sunday Night Football against the Rams, which if we had better play calling, we would have beaten the Rams. For sure.
I was rooting hard for you, bro, because you would have knocked the Rams with another peg down if you'd taken care of business that day.
Yeah,
just saying.
And we should have. I blame that one on Freddie Kitchens, which he looks way over his head right now. And I think I said this to you through a text. He went from being either the running backs coach or quarterbacks coach, one of the two, to interim offensive coordinator to head coach in 1 year, when we had other candidates that we could have chosen from. We could have kept Greg Williams as head coach and kept Freddie Kitchens as offensive coordinator, which I think would have been the right move, although I'm not sure what we would have done with the defensive coordinator spot. I know, because they did pretty well. They did pretty well with that combination, right? That's after they fired the other head coach. You guys, went on a tear, and again, and of course it is different when everybody loves the backup quarterback when the team is struggling, because the backup quarterback comes in, he's got nothing to lose, can play loose because there's no pressure, and and then they can just do whatever they want, and maybe that's why he played so well. But it was a different combination, and maybe that was it. Maybe again, Kitchens, maybe he's a good
coordinator, but not so much of a head coach. I don't know. You know,
Right.
but it is a different story when you come in and now as the man, he has all this pressure, all this endorsements, all this publicity and hype going into the Browns this is gonna be our year. That's a lot different than like, let's put Mayfield in, see what he can do. So now it's like he has to deliver instead of like, let's see what happens. So
Right.
it's a lot different the second time around.
And I think it's also that, like, you know, instead of sitting back and waiting and like actually letting Baker Mayfield kind of develop more, we just went, okay, we have a great quarterback in Baker Mayfield from the small sample size that we have, and we're going to trade Kevin Zeitler to the Giants for Olivier Vernon, and then we're going to trade Jabril Peppers, the 17th overall pick and a third-round pick, to the Giants and get Odell Beckham Jr. And it's like, which I'm fine with that, although I'm not sure I like the move of getting rid of Kevin Zeitler because, you know, our offensive line has been iffy at times, you know, having faced D lines like Tennessee, which I think the Titans have an underrated defensive front. The Rams, obviously, Aaron Donald and those boys. Baltimore has a good defensive front, although we shredded them with our run game. And then San Francisco ate our offensive line for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then we come back and we have to face another good defensive line in you guys. And we're able to keep Baker Mayfield clean with no sacks and I don't think he got knocked down once.
Well, and I don't know if I agree with you about our defensive line. Our defensive line has not risen to the occasion. We need a lot more work there, and we're not up to par yet with where we need to be. I think that's our biggest liability right now is our lack of a pass rush because Mayfield really never got touched, and
but overall you get what
got
I'm
to
saying.
beef that up. Mm-hmm. But
But
we are getting Jaron Reed back, and that hopefully will be the thing. I keep going. Next week we're gonna get better. Next week, hopefully this one will be the time it actually does. But
right,
you know,
I just think okay, we got Odell Beckham Jr., but we didn't have to do all this yip yapping in the offseason. We could have just stayed quiet and not really said anything and stayed out of the news and, you know.
Yep, that probably would have been smart, but it's too late now. You guys let the cat out of the bag, so now you got to just deal with it.
Like, you probably didn't see this, but Delaney Walker, the Titans defensive end, you know, after they beat us, put a beat down on us 43-13, he's like, oh, they are who we thought they were.
Right.
That quote from that famous Arizona Cardinals coach, I don't remember.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. I forgot his name off top.
And then he goes, let's go ahead and crown him. And I'm like, yeah, Delaney, you deserve to do that. And like, Nick Bosa, you should be doing the flag waving. Like, you know, you guys beat us down. And, you know, I feel like we put these expectations on ourselves. We didn't have to go from being the hunter to the hunted. But for some reason, the GM Dorsey felt like we had to. And, you know, it's backfiring on us a little bit right now.
Well, all the hype stuff aside, everybody kind of knows where everybody's at now. And so now it's just a matter of you just got to kind of figure out how to right the ship. You know, every team's got their issues. The Patriots have got issues, even though they're undefeated issues. You guys have issues. We've got issues. A lot of teams. San Francisco, you know, looks pretty darn good. I'm hoping that they think they don't have issues. So by the time we face them, they will have issues, and we'll have fixed our issues, and then we'll be less issues, and they'll have more, and then we'll end up winning because of a difference in issues. But that's a separate issue for another day. But I've got, and I have to keep this one short because I got to leave in about 5 minutes to go pick up my girls from their practice. But let's see. I just want to make sure we don't miss anything here. So you guys have next the bye week with the Patriots in waiting.
Yes. And then at Denver, and then home for Buffalo, home Thursday night game against Pittsburgh, which I personally think the NFL should get rid of Thursday night football. I think it is so stupid because number one, you're coming off playing on Sunday, and that does not give your body enough time to recover. Number two, playing on Thursday doesn't give you enough time to game plan for the next opponent. And number three, it only gives you Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to practice. That's kind of ridiculous.
What they should do is they should make it so that whoever plays Thursday is either coming off their bye week or coming off, how would it be? Yeah, they're either coming off your bye or at least not coming off the road. You've got to not make it where it's a combination of coming off the road and then playing Thursday night. That's just brutal. So I know it's not perfect to do, but I agree. Right. I'm sure the players feel the same way that you do.
I mean, so I have the entire Browns schedule memorized, actually. Week 1, home against Tennessee, which was 43-13. Week 2 at the Jets, which we won 20-3. Shout out to Gangrene David. Hope to see you again. Although, hopefully it's because we didn't finish in the same place as the Jets. Week 3, home against the Rams. That was Sunday Night Football, which we should have won that game, but a couple questionable coaching decisions cost us. Week 4 at the Ravens, and we won that game. Week 5 at San Francisco on Monday Night Football. Week 6, that was home against you guys.
I'm going to stop you for a second. One, because time is running out, and two,
Sorry.
you brought up the Ravens, and you beat the Ravens soundly, and we play the Ravens this Sunday. Can you give me something or give the fans a reason to believe what did you guys do that worked so well against the Ravens that we could take and hope that our Seahawks team will do the same thing? What was the key to beating the Ravens?
Well, sorry, I was going on a little bit of a tangent.
It's okay. It's just that we're short on time. That's why I have to kind of catch you up.
Yeah. I should have done the back half of their schedule instead of trying to go through their full schedule.
Tell me about the Ravens and how you guys won.
So I think what you guys do really well is, running the. You got to establish the run early to keep Lamar Jackson on the sidelines. Let me give you a quick comparison. Houston was at Kansas City yesterday. The key to beating the Chiefs lately has been, number one, keeping Mahomes out of the end zone, and number two, keeping him out of just keeping him off the field. Well, the Texans did that by running the ball and doing short dink and dump passes. And you've seen how so getting back to Ravens at Seahawks, first off, you got to bring the noise, which I know the 12s will do. And Lamar Jackson has never felt anything like what he's going to face on Sunday in CenturyLink. But again, you've got to run the ball to keep him on the sidelines. Test that Ravens defense. I mean, you don't have to use the deep pass, which I think we burned them a couple times with the deep pass, but I would say Russell Wilson isn't really a deep pass quarterback. He's more of a short pass or medium range quarterback.
That could be debated, but okay. All right, so we know that we're going to want to establish the run, and I think we've shown with 3 games in a row now, or 4, that we've 100 yards or more to Chris Carson. So that's definitely going to be on the offensive side. What about on the defensive side? How did you stop Lamar Jackson when he did get on the field? Because you can't keep him off the field forever. So what was the trick?
I understand that.
What'd you do?
Which we did a pretty good job of this against Russell Wilson. When we were able to get through their offensive line, the defensive linemen can't get too far upfield because that's just going to give Lamar Jackson an easy lane. So you can rush the pass. You can rush Lamar, but do it kind of cautiously, if you will. Don't come exploding at him because he'll be like, okay, there's an easy lane. Bye.
Okay.
So, and
duly noted.
Which I think we did a pretty good job of that against Russell.
How is Lamar Jackson throwing the ball? I know he can run. How is he as a thrower?
He's improved as a passer. He'll mainly go to Snead in the slot. I'm trying to think of who else he has. Oh, he likes to use his speed demon receiver, Hollywood Brown, who they drafted out of Oklahoma. So I would have your cornerback who's better equipped to match up with a speed receiver on John Brown. So I don't know. Who do you consider to be the cornerback that can match up with like a speedster?
Probably Shaquille Griffin on the left side, but he plays left side, so I don't know where they line them up. But
yeah, I don't know. By the way, I do know a Ravens YouTuber if you want me to try and hook you up with him.
All right, after the show, give me the info, and I've got one or two in mind that I think that I might be able to connect with, but it might be the same one you're thinking of. But I got 1 minute left. So Earl Thomas, I was just talking about how I miss Earl Thomas on the back end of our defense. From what you saw, how is Earl Thomas how's he doing with the Ravens in terms of free safety play, and what can we expect?
First off, I hope you guys give him a standing ovation, even though he gave the middle finger, which I'm not sure if that was to the Seahawks or what that was for.
Pete Carroll, directly from what I hear. How about we give him a standing ovation and the finger? Does that work like that? Can we do both? That'd be kind of like, tit for tat. But
yeah.
Anyway, so, real quick, 30-second scouting report on Earl Thomas, and then we have to wrap it up.
He's still flying all over the field, but I've seen him play more generally in the middle of the field, so you might be able to catch him if you use Luke Wilson and whoever your other tight end is.
Well, we're down one. As you know, we lost Will Dissly, which is a huge blow to our offense, sadly. But we might get another one, Ed Dixon, off the injured reserve in a week or two. So, well, it sounds like he's doing what he's been doing, because he's a free safety, single high safety that just roams the field back there, and sounds like he's still doing what he's doing. So,
yes, he is.
All right, well, I've got to wrap this up, and I guess I just want to finish by saying make sure I've enjoyed this collaboration both before pregame and postgame. Make sure you check out Ungar to the Max on YouTube. Sub him up. He's also on Instagram, as you can see on there, at Ungar to the Max, and on Twitter at Josh's Cavs 27. It's been fun, man. I'm sure this won't be the last time that we do this, but we were fortunate to be on the winning end this time. But I do wish you the best of luck down the way. Of course, I want you to beat the Patriots. I want you to beat anybody you play in the NFC. So, now that we've beaten you, I'm rooting for you all the way, bro.
Now, the only NFC team we have left is Arizona in Week 15.
Okay, well, knock them down for me anyway, even though we're not really too worried about those guys.
Yeah.
But knock the Patriots down for good measure, too.
We're 0-3 against the NFC West because we lost to the Rams, lost to the 49ers, and now we lost to you. Yeah. So that's great.
So anyway, sub to our channels, hit the notification bells, because we'd love to have you guys following us. But I got to say a quick thing to Team Triple G Mono, who's always in my channel talking smack in the chat. I love your confidence, and I hope the 49ers go undefeated until we play each other, because I want you guys.
Monday Night Football. I
know.
Cisco.
I know it's going to be a tough one. I want them to be like completely high and on top of the world, as if nothing is wrong with their team when we play them on Monday night. That's all I'm saying. I won't complain if they get knocked off a couple of games before we play, but I want them to be, in my opinion, I want to see them flying as high as possible when we meet up with you guys. So just throwing that out there. All right, I got to go. Sorry I have to cut this short, guys, but Monday Night Football tonight, Packers, Lions. That'll be an interesting one. But again, thanks for watching. Josh, Ungar to the Max, thanks for the collab. Sorry it didn't go your way, but not really, because we needed this win too. But we'll talk to you guys all later. Go Hawks.